Good morning. This is actually Sunday, August 6th, and I've decided to take a break this weekend, so I'm doing a rebroadcast of my very first podcast earlier in the year. It's always interesting to go back and listen to things. It's almost like reading your journal from years ago and being able to look back and see the progress that you've made. I hope you enjoy this. Good morning, and here we are on a Sunday, January 22nd. My name is Greg Worth. I am the author of Iconic Freedom and The Formula. What is the formula? Well, I'm glad you asked. The formula is a set of standards that you are setting for yourself in your own personal development of accountability and responsibility. I would be very grateful in order for me to post these onto Rumble and YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I need to have 100 subscribers. So if you wouldn't mind going to Rumble and looking up my Rumble account and subscribing, I would be very grateful. I will have it down in the comments as well so that you can just click onto it and go over there. Doesn't cost you anything to do it, but it certainly would help me get started on this journey. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was just the very beginnings of this. People like, what does this mean and all that? Okay, well, the reality of everything is that we can look outside of ourselves for all kinds of affirmation and things to tell us that, we're a good person, we're on the path of righteousness, all that kind of stuff. But the reality is that if you aren't developing personally within yourself, it really doesn't matter what's going to happen outside in your world. When you start figuring out for yourself your own set of standards that you want to live by, those things that will create integrity and character in your life, well, that's what's going to move you forward. That's what's going to change your universe. Your universe doesn't change on the outside. It changes on the inside and gets reflected on the outside. So if you're a person that's having a lot of chaos in your life, if you're a person that's having a lot of drama in your life, honestly, and you probably don't want to hear this, but you created it, and you created it from the choices that you make. So what does that mean? Well, that's every single choice you make. I've had this conversation with so many people, I can't even count the number of folks that have discussed this with me, but it's the everyday moment-to-moment choices you're making and you taking accountability for that, meaning you take ownership of that choice, whatever it is. Me talking to you right now, I'm standing here and as I'm talking to you, I'm moving my hands around and kind of moving around, having a discussion with you. But there's nobody here, but I'm making all those choices. I'm making a choice to put this online. I'm making a choice to do the job that I do. Everything that I do, I get up and walk to the kitchen. That's a choice that I make and I own it. Now, I know that sounds tedious. What happens in that revelation when you start to integrate that understanding, you start to realize that you are not a victim of anything. I think there was a movie one time with Michelle Pfeiffer. I can't even remember the name of it, but you remember when she was a teacher and she said, there are no victims, And she was right. There are no victims. There are only choices. So you could be a victim. You can play victim in your life. Sooner or later, I think people kind of get sick of that and they, don't want to hang out with you. Or you can be a hero to your life. What other people have done in terms of your relationships with them, your interactions with, that just tells the story of what happened. But how you deal with it tells the story of you. Are you a victim to the choice that puts you in a situation where it didn't turn out the way you wanted? Or are you a hero to yourself, realizing, I don't have to tolerate this, or I can look back at this and go, okay, I'm just going to kind of bless that and move on. I get it. I learned something from it, and I don't need anybody else to learn something from it. I did enough. One of those things that I want to make sure that I address as I go through this podcast is being able to look at some very fundamental basics within life itself. What is self-interest? What are your choices made of? What does accountability mean? What does responsibility mean? That ability to respond. We keep hearing these words bandied about and on the news
wherever you're at, people talking on their podcast like me, talking about, well, what, there's got to be responsibility, accountability. But what does that mean? Nobody says concrete and specifically accountability, ownership of your choice, responsibility, the ability to respond to that choice. So don't, sit there and complain that you're gaining weight when you're not taking accountability, ownership of the fact that you keep putting food in your mouth. And then, you start gaining weight. And do you have the ability to respond to the choice of gaining weight? Of maybe doing something to your health that might not be great. I think, we've all gone through the last few years and we see how that has impacted people that had great health, managed it, and people that did not, obviously did not. So anyway, this is kind of the basis of what I want to do. I want to do these short clips. I want to make them, maybe about 10 minutes or so. 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the topic. I would love for you to join me. If you want to email me, you can do that, and I can take your questions. I would love it if there's somebody out there in the audience that would be willing to kind of go through an interview process with me. I would just basically ask you questions. We might do a Zoom call or something aside from this, and then I would post it. So I'd be able to edit it just for purposes of timing and everything. But I really would like to walk somebody through this, to talk to them, to be able to say, where are you in your life? Pick something, and then let's walk it back. Let's go through the supply chain that brought you to this moment in time. Because I guarantee you, every single time, that supply chain, that walking it back, that looking at your choice in every given situation along that ladder is yours and yours alone. Nobody did it to you. You did it to yourself. I told somebody one time years ago that life is not happening to you. It is happening because of you. And once you have that understanding and you start pulling yourself out of that victimization, I guarantee you, your life is going to change. This is the way of nature. The laws of attraction, all that other shenanigans, that ethereal, mystic stuff. There is nothing mystic or mysterious about it. Do this. This is what nature obligates and compels, and it will change your life. Guaranteed. That's it for this introductory podcast of sorts. So it goes. Hey, you can reach me at iconicfreedom@gmail.com. iconicfreedom@gmail.com. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at freedomaz0704, and the Truth Social at Batman64, at the Batman64. Hey, you can DM your questions to me through there as well. Go out and make it a great day.